It's 1996 and my chubby blonde ball-cutted self was 7 years old. This is when I got my first Game Boy as well as Pokemon Red. I played that for hours upon hours. I even got one of those insane magnifying glass with the light things so I could play after I should have gone to bed. Ah, such a simple time. Remember the missing no hack? Nostalgia, baby. After 3 years of Pokemon addiction, a school friend of mine introduced me to Dragon Ball, and you know, that blew my mind at the time. And then 2001 rolled along, and I got really into Final Fantasy X, with great game by the way, the ending always gets me. And I played through all of it in Japanese, because why not? And thus a weeb was born, and my dream of going to Japan was also born. And now that I've been living here for multiple years, I kinda wish I moved sooner. Now, I'm not saying that you should move to a foreign country just because you like some media that comes out of it, because, you know, that's dumb. But many people do it. They come here and then they start teaching English and like, yeah, I'm in Japan, anime, and then they realize that it's kinda different and then they just, you know, go back home. But there are many reasons that you should actually move to Japan and stay in Japan. So this is kind of my love letter to Japan. These are the things that I really love about living in Japan and why you should move here. So here we go. So first up is the food. There is no doubt that Japanese cuisine is one of the best ones in the world. Sushi, okonomiyaki, yakiniku, takoyaki, nabe, ramen, gyoza. The list goes on. It's just so much good food here. Granted, some of these have been borrowed from, you know, China back in the day. Ramen is like ramen's origin, so ramen is not technically not Japanese, but they made it their own, right? And it's so goddamn good. Calorie heavy and as much salt as you need to get a stroke as a fit young man, but worth it. But there are so many components that make up Japanese cuisine, and the cuisine as a whole, I gotta tell you boys, it fucking slaps. It's so goddamn good. Japanese curry too, it's like another wonderful thing. That's kind of a fusion dish that came with British soldiers, you know, during the Meiji era. When all of the Brits were in India, they brought some curry powder and bing bang whoosh, we have Japanese curry. There are a lot of well-known dishes to try, as well as less-known things like shirako, which is the literal cum sack of a fish, and basashi, which is, you know, raw horse meat. In addition to this, a bunch of fusion restaurants open like all the time. So, you know, you can find like Indian, American, Chinese, Nepali, Thai, whatever the flavor you want, you can find it in Japan. You can find anything here except for roasted monkey brain, which, you know, I haven't found yet. Probably will. I'm actively looking. If anybody knows about it, let me know. Beverages. More specifically, the alcohol. With food comes drinks, unless you're one of those weirdos who eat their food first before enjoying their beverage. The fuck is up with that? You go to McDonald's and you do the burger alone first, then the fries, then you have a sip of your nice Sprite? What the fuck? I'll never understand this. I do bite of burger, a handful of fries, and then I wash that shit down and I do that on repeat. That's the way people should eat. I don't get it. Now, tangents about eating habits aside, sorry about that. Beverages in Japan are just super good. If we're talking about alcohol, there are a bunch of awesome things to drink here. You know, sake, which is called nihonshu, it's rice wine, it's very popular. Shochu, a kind of rice vodka that gives me a 3-day hangover even if I drink a little bit of it. The fuck? Japanese beers like Asahi, Kirin, and Sapporo, and even craft beers like Spring Valley and Doppo, you know, it's pretty good here. And many microbreweries open up everywhere in Japan, like almost every week, so you'll be able to find a decent, albeit extremely expensive, but delicious beer. Also, if we're not only talking alcohol, I mean Mitsuya cider and ramune, you can't beat it. It's pretty good. Speaking of food and drink, you know, izakaya and of course nomi hodais, which you can get at izakayas, is fantastic and one of the better reasons to stay here, I guess. Izakaya is like a Japanese-style tavern, and it's one of the greatest things about Japan, in my opinion, because I'm fat and I like to drink. You can sit and eat a plethora, yes, I can use fancy words despite being Norwegian, a plethora of food. Meat skewers, hot pots, edamame, fish, fried stuff, and plenty of alcohol. I mean, what's heaven, if not this? And this is where the terms nomi hodai and tabe hodai come into play again. It's eat as much as you want and drink as much as you want. You buy that in a combo and you have 3 hours of just ordering from the menu like some sort of deranged food maniac. I love it. That's me. And this makes it also extremely affordable. So you can all you can eat and all you can drink for like 2,800 yen for 3 hours. Very, very affordable. Speaking of affordable, I mean, Japan is kind of affordable in and of itself. Public transportation, food, convenience store items, beers, all of it is cheaper than many places I've been in Europe. If you live in Japan and get a Japanese salary, then you will usually have like a comfortable amount of disposable income. Sure, your choices impact this, you know, if you want to use 85% of your paycheck to live in the middle, in the center of the city of Tokyo, then, you know, fine. But if you plan normally, like a normal human being, I mean, you'll be fine and comfortable here. Local vegetables and meat, it's super inexpensive too. Lunch offers at restaurants are pretty cheap, and supermarkets have half off bentos after 6 p.m, which, you know, makes it pretty fucking affordable. I'm not saying it's like Thailand affordable, because that's kind of a third world country. I used to live there for many years. But come on, Japan is pretty affordable. One of the best perks about living in Japan must be the domestic travel. Living in Japan might make you feel a little bit isolated, especially if you're from Europe or like North America. Flying home is hella expensive, and taking a quick trip to like Italy or the UK, which I could do from Norway, it's like a 1.5 hour flight. It's not possible without taking a lot of time and money. But despair not. Domestic travel is here to take the depression right out of your weekends, baby. Japan is a beautiful country with many different and wonderful prefectures. So why not, you know, explore most of them? It's extremely cheap to fly domestically from, let's say, Tokyo to Sapporo, which will send you into a whole different vibe if you're used to just staying in Tokyo. I mean, Hokkaido is way better. Trains can also take you to some interesting places and, you know, ryokans. So you can live a whole lifetime in Japan without experiencing everything that this country has to offer. And that is really beautiful to us who live here, because I'm exploring, and I'm about ready to explore some more, and I'm gonna take you guys with me. So, you know, check out the Patreon so we can afford that. Within domestic travel comes the views, and holy fuck, this is a beautiful country. I've already said it, but I have to say it again. It might be my Viking blood, but there's something extremely soothing about ranges of huge mountains around in Japan. I just love it. Temples tucked in between skyscrapers, shrines on top of a mountain, beaches, islands. This is objectively a beautiful country, and you'll be able to see lots of great views here, which will, you know, be burned forever into your memory and eyeballs. Another great thing about actually living in Japan is the ease of access to travel all around Asia. Now, I'm not saying that you should only be staying in Japan because you live in Japan. Sometimes, you know, a weekend trip to Korea maybe, you know? So if you feel stuck and you feel like it's a drag to like fly 12 hours to the west again to visit your boring ass relatives, what about a weekend trip to Seoul, you know? It's only 5 hours to Thailand. You can go to Phuket for 5 days. It's not that expensive. If you've been living in Japan for a long time and you kind of want a change of scenery, all of Asia are like within a couple hours flight. I've been traveling a lot around Asia even before moving Japan, and this is one of the ultimate perks for me. I mean, who doesn't want to fly 4 hours to fucking Vietnam to have yourself a nice bowl of pho, right? Hello? 5 hours to Thailand to have some great curries, some lab, chai mai cup, lab kao niao. Just the ease of access to Asia is fucking fantastic. Thank you, Japan. The safety in Japan is also one of the better things about this country. Japan is a genuinely safe country compared to many others. I'm no woman myself, believe it or not, after taking a look at me. But if I look around on the internet, you'll find female content creators and female travelers who always say that they feel safe traveling alone or going out at night in Japan. I've never felt unsafe in any area in Japan that I've been at, even after like 3 a.m. at night. But arguably, I am a tall, huge, white Viking man, so, you know, I might be the scary one in that scenario. 3 a.m. in a large city in a European country would be extremely sketchy, and I would be worried about getting stabbed, or robbed, or raped. Of course, there's no such thing as 100% safety, but as far as Japan goes, they're pretty close to it. And I feel safer here than back home in Norway. Now, I grew up in Norway. Norway is pretty goddamn safe. Japan is just, you know, a whole league safer than Norway. Especially Oslo at night. Don't go out. People will ask you if you want to buy drugs, and then they will stab you. Don't walk down Karl Johan at 3 a.m. Very dangerous. So another good thing about Japan is the people. How people behave in public in Japan is pretty fascinating to me. Like, the main thing is that you shouldn't disturb the wa or make a scene in Japan, right? Which makes this collectivistic society pretty awesome. Getting pissed drunk and fighting on a train, or crying loudly in public, or just being a nuisance, it rarely happens with Japanese people. Foreigners do, remember Johnny Somali? But regular Japanese people, I've maybe seen one troublemaker in my 8 years here. So, you know, take with that what you will. Being able to avoid idiot teenagers blasting their shitty music from their phone on public transportation, this is a pet peeve of mine. It happens all the... Go to a train in any part of Europe, there's this idiot the fucking teenager pieces of shit blasting their fucking annoying ass music. I don't care if it's good music, blasting and blaring fucking loud music on public transportation should be punishable by death, and I'm against the death penalty, but not for that. This is a huge fucking pet peeve of mine. I fucking hate it. Maybe I am growing into a boomer, holy shit. But yeah, being able to avoid idiot teenagers blasting their shitty music on public transportation, it gives my old millennial ass so much joy. The quirks and quirkiness of this country. This is a very quirky country. There's no way around it. Akihabara, the anime area of Tokyo, maid cafes, owl cafes, cuddle cafes, host and hostess clubs, used panty vending machines, black man underwear, shitty English t-shirts. There's so many quirky, funny, and just weirdly enjoyable things about this country, and I'm loving all of it. Maybe it is because I'm weird. Probably it's because I'm weird. But you're probably weird too if you're interested in this country, so why don't you come on over and enjoy all of the things that I've said in this video right here. Now, thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see more Japan content like this, please consider subscribing and smash that motherfucking like button to support the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.